defense, however you slice it, whether or not it's quite the elite of the elite or just top 10. And it's almost embarrassing how many weapons he has. Like, you just said it. Antonio Brown, Godwin, Evans, and then Gronk, who he's like, it's unbelievable. So if you got a defense and you got a coach you think is using this, like, blocking schemes imperfectly, and you have an embarrassment of receivers, I'm not trying to hear about, it's the coach. It's as much the quarterback as the coach. It's just when we say it's, what's the it's we're referring to? That they're 7-5? That they're going to wind up with 10 wins? Guys, I'm just pointing out, that's what they were supposed to do. Stephen A., if you say, you like them for 11, all right, you get a whistle here, a call there, a play here, a PI there. That could be the difference between 10 or 11. But they were, to me, and the odds makers thought they're either a 9 or a 10-win team. I'll take 10. That's what they're heading for. This is what you got. Brady's not going to suddenly become an MVP again. He's not that player anymore. He's a professional quarterback. He's a starter, and he's got a lot of weapons on the team, and so they're winning. They're winning more than they're losing, which is what you should expect.
But, Max, I hear you in the overall record. My concern is the regression that you're seeing in the offense as a whole, right? Or I guess they haven't reached the potential I thought they would have gotten to by this point. That's the part that concerns me. It's not their overall record, whether they're going to win the NFC South or not. I thought this would be a team to be feared in the playoffs. But by the style that they're playing, that's not even a question right now, because you're seeing them play against good teams and really get dressed down. That's my concern. Is I would have thought they would be ascending into the playoffs because I thought it would take time. I just haven't seen them catch up that much, and I did think defense was going to have to carry them. So top 10, whatever. But from the past perspective, they got to get, because I think that's going to carry them. But to your point, their overall record, I get it. But I'm saying I thought they were going to be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time because of the weeks. It just hasn't gotten there as fast as I thought it was going to happen.
Well, Jeff, this is the thing, and you brought up blocking, which obviously you would know like the back of your hand. And the bottom line is this: you're talking about blitz packages, in terms of picking up blitzes and things of that nature. Your running backs blocking for you. You're making sure to assist in the level of protection that you might need, because Tom Brady is 43 years of age, and even when he was in his 30s and his 20s, he wasn't mobile. So you damn sure know he's not mobile now. I think the reason why I keep bringing up Arians is because he is a respected coach. We all respect him. We respect the job he did in Indy. We respect the job he did in Arizona. We understand it, and we love his personality. The flip side to it is this. When we look at who Tom Brady played for the first 19 years or so of his career, it was a guy in Bill Belichick that kept the mistakes at a minimum and camouflaged the deficiencies. Bruce Arians is not doing that. So we can look at Tom Brady, but ultimately, if we're going to compare Tom Brady to who he once was, why don't we get to compare Bruce Arians to who Tom Brady once had? Because he has 6 titles and 9 Super Bowl appearances. And here you are, Bruce Arians, with these bevy of weapons, and you no longer have a quarterback that's throwing 30 interceptions in a season, and still somehow, some way, there's always a problem. It's the defense. It's the secondary. It's not underutilizing the running game. Leonard Fournette suddenly can't run the football for some inexplicable reason. We're pointing to a few things that have very little to do with Tom Brady. So who else are we supposed to look at?
Well, okay, but you're comparing him to the best who ever did it. And if we're talking about, going into this season, this wasn't about Arians to Belichick or even Brady to Cam. This is about Brady.
But is it a comparison, Max?
Belichick's one game under 500.
But is it a comparison or simply asking him to do his job?
Well, but Arians can coach. He's just not Belichick. Belichick, one game under 500, his quarterback had COVID. They had no defense. They have no offense. They have no nothing. And they're a couple plays away from a 7-4 record. Yeah, he's doing fine. This is what I expected him to do. He could be better, sure. He could be worse.
I expected better.
Right.
Got a 43-year-old quarterback.
All right, guys, I want to get in another subject here, if we don't mind. The Ravens-Steelers, they're playing tomorrow. So the Ravens are now in 3rd in the AFC North, still in the playoff hunt, with the wild card expanding to 3 teams this year. But tomorrow they could be farther back. Their game's at 3:40 p.m. Eastern in Pittsburgh. Max, do you think the Ravens are going to even reach the playoffs?
Yeah, I think they will. If you look at their record, the only game where you go, they're going to lose that game is the Steelers. They have a pretty soft schedule, not record, schedule. They have a pretty soft schedule coming up. And I look at them and I think they have a good chance to win 10 games. Like, let's not forget, this same Ravens team, assuming they recover from COVID and everything, because that could have lasting effects. I just mentioned Cam Newton. Took him several games to get back, right? Like he had brain fog or whatever it was. Assuming that they get back to what they were. Guys, think of what they did to the Browns first game of the season. Like, they can play on both sides of the ball, and even if if the league has somewhat figured them out on offense, or their offense has taken a step back, they can still play defense. I expect the Ravens to win at least 9 games, maybe 10, and I think 10 gets them to the playoffs.
I think they'll lose. I think they'll win 9 games. I don't think it'll be enough to get them to the postseason. I don't like the way that they've looked. And by the way, are we just going to summarily dismiss the Cleveland Browns? Stefanski's doing a damn good job. They're 8-3 on the year. Baker Mayfield's not really turning the ball over. Their defense is playing well, and they've got one of, if not the best running game in football. They're not Derrick Henry, but Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are absolutely positively no joke. And dare we say, Jarvis Landry looked good. At least this last Sunday, he looked pretty damn good without Odell Beckham Jr. on the other side of the field. So I'm just looking at it from the standpoint that we can't summarily dismiss Cleveland. Pittsburgh obviously is there. The Dallas Cowboys, as horrific as they've been defensively, let's keep in mind they're really porous against the pass. What is the Baltimore Ravens' #1 problem? Throwing the damn football. That's not what Lamar Jackson and them have done best. They've got the 31st ranked passing attack in the NFL. It is entirely plausible that they'll win 9 games. But with Indy, with Cleveland, with Miami, it's also plausible that it ain't going to be enough. And that's what I foresee happening.
I think the Ravens end up making it.
Right.
I think, listen, this team, I think, finds a way. I know I don't think they're going to beat the Steelers, but I think after that, I side with Max. I think they have a pretty soft schedule. They can take advantage of. I think they beat the Browns. I think they have they got the heads up against the Colts, right? So they're going to be in a chase with that, of trying to just match wins with that. But this is a good football team. Don't forget Williams and Calais Campbell, who have both been out. Brandon Williams and Calais Campbell, who have both been out for that Ravens defense the last few weeks. Those guys coming back, and again, I don't know with the COVID if they play this week. I don't even know who's in, who's out at this point. But as they come back to the fold, this will be a much better defense that will continue to push and press teams that I think has been lacking the last couple of weeks. Again, offensively, they got to figure it out. I think Harbaugh does a good job of getting this team rallied towards the end of the season. I think ultimately they make that push and get in.
Stephen A., you brought up something that I've been wanting to mention about Baker and the Browns. Baker has limited upside. We can see that. But you're right. He plays better without Odell. And Odell is a baller. Odell is a great player in his prime. This is what I was saying when I originally said the Browns should trade Odell. It's Baker and Odell don't mix. You got to separate those two so they can both have success. But you're right. The Browns on offense look better without Odell, which is insane. They need to separate Baker and Odell.
Let me say this. You know why the Browns look better? Because Chubb got healthy. That's why their offense looks better. Hey, but you don't even have to have the conversation about Mayfield at this point. When Nick Chubb came back in that offense and Callahan with that run game, that's a totally different football team. OBJ, Landry, whoever you want to talk about, the bottom line is they can run that rock, and that makes everybody susceptible on the back end. So why are Landry's numbers coming up? Why does Mayfield look better? Because Chubb's back in the action. Make no mistake about how that offense runs. One guy, Nick Chubb. Don't miss the name, because that dude's what's driving that Cleveland Brown train.
With Kareem Hunt, that's tough. Very tough.